Joining me now on the air is the Executive Director of the Fayette County Big Brothers Big Sisters organization, Laura Feierstein. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome for joining.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, before we talk about Bowl for Kids' Sake, give us some background on what Big Brothers Big Sisters is all about.
Okay. Well, what our organization does is we basically take kids who are considered maybe at risk or single-parent families or basically just in need of some sort of assistance, and we pair them up with a positive adult role model. So we get volunteers from the community between 18 and, 70, 80 years old, even though there's really no age maximum. And we thoroughly assess both the kids and the volunteers. We make sure that it would be a good pairing for them. And then the volunteers take the kids out. They go to the movies, to bowling, really to sort of provide them with enriching experiences that they might not get otherwise. And the proven outcome from the National Big Brothers Big Sisters organizations is that by having at least one positive person in their life, kids are less likely to get involved in drugs. They're more likely to graduate high school, to go on to college, and a lot of these other really great things. So by just doing a small difference, we ask our volunteers to spend like an hour a week with the kids. By just doing that, it really does have a larger impact in the long run. Really?
So just an hour a week can make that much of a difference?
Yes.
And obviously, it's not just boys, it's girls, too.
Oh, yeah, of course. We do have a lot more female matches than our male matches because it's harder to find male volunteers. But the hour that they spend with it, sometimes the volunteers spend a little longer, but that's because they choose to. And the hour they spend is really not about what they're actually doing. It's not whether they're going somewhere or doing something. It's really just showing the kids that you care about them and giving them that quality attention that they might not get from home.
Now, if a person is interested in volunteering, because obviously, I'm sure there's more kids that need matches than there are volunteers out there, what do they do to get involved?
Well, we do have about 50 kids on a wait list right now, so there's always a big need. And the more I publicize and try to get volunteers, I actually get a lot more kids. But we have a website open. It's BBBS, for Big Brothers Big Sisters, Fayette.org, and that has a lot of good resources there about the applications, the background checks, sort of the requirements of being a big, and they can fill that all out on the computer and just email it to me. Or they could stop by our office anytime. We're located in the Regan Street Boys and Girls Club building and fill out the paperwork that way. But basically, we could get people matched up as early as 2 weeks if they do everything on time. We mostly just do a couple background checks for the kids' safety and then interview the volunteers to find out who they would be best appropriate with, whether they've got an older kid that they're more able to relate to rather than a younger kid. And then, once we match them up, we do kind of supervise it for a while just to make sure that it's beneficial, and we follow up with them about every month to see how the kid might be improving and give the volunteers any sort of assistance that they might need. So the volunteers really don't need to have any sort of special ability. If they love sports or if they love something else, they really just bring that to the table and use their own personality to affect the kid.
All right, let's talk about Bowl for Kids' Sake.
Sure.
That is the big fundraiser coming up.
Yes, this is the fundraiser that should be supporting our organization for the rest of the year. We're trying to raise about $20,000 this year. One of my board members, his favorite quote right now is that if we can raise $40,000 for the Relay for Life, which is a great cause, but all that money goes out of the county, it doesn't stay here. If we can do that, then we can definitely raise $20,000 to serve our kids right here in Fayette County.
So what is Bowl for Kids' Sake all about?
Okay, well, what we do is we get a couple sponsorships in terms of T-shirts and other organizations to get their name and advertising out there, but it's mostly about supporting the kids, supporting the community. We get people who want to form a team of 4 or 5 bowlers, and then each bowler has a goal of raising about $50. They can do that a lot of easy ways, like by going to our website. We have a Google checkout. That way they could use a credit card to get donations. But then the bowlers basically get as much donations as they can. They actually can get a prize for bringing in the most donations. And then the day of the event, they just kind of come in, they hand it all in to us, and they get a free T-shirt, a bowling game, shoe rental, food and drink, and a chance to win a couple prizes. So it's really about having fun that day of it and knowing that they're supporting a good cause.
Now, is it too late at this point for people to form teams?
Not at all. I've definitely been trying to stimulate teams just so they have enough time to collect as many donations as they need. But we can sign up a team as fast as they need to. I mean, I'd be a little cautious if it was 2 or 3 days before the event, but if they think that they can get that, we don't want to pressure the bowlers to give their own money, I mean, if they want to, that's great, but it's really about getting other people involved, and we don't ask every person to give $50 of their own personal funds.
Now, it does not necessarily have to be through a church organization or work. It can be 4 or 5 friends.
Of course, yeah. We've got actually a high school team started up now. One of my littles started a team with his friends, and I've got my Little and her family, Little is what we call the children, and her family started it, and that's sort of one of our lower income families. So we're definitely glad to see the support from my own organization and people going out there and making the effort.
And I was going to say, a team could be just the 4 or 5 members of a family, too.
Yeah. We have, I actually started my own team with friends of mine in Cincinnati. So they don't even live in this county, but they're raising money down where they live, and then they're going to drive up the day of the event.
Now, the day of the event is?
March 7th.
Okay.
Sunday between 1 and 4 p.m. So each bowling team would pick a bowling preference time. So they could bowl at 1, 2, 3, or even 4 o'clock.
Gotcha.
But depending on how many teams we have, we might actually just give out prizes at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
And also that day of the event, we're trying to get local restaurants to sponsor us. This is different than what we've normally done. We're trying to get a Dine for Kids' Sake started. So what we're asking is that March 7th date, we would tell all of our bowlers, go eat at these 2 or 3 places, and then those restaurants would agree to give us 10% of their profits that day. So I think that's pretty easy for the restaurants to get involved with because they don't have to do anything differently, and they'd hopefully get a lot more business because we do expect to have about 200 bowlers that day, or hopefully more. We had about 200 last year, but we're trying to stimulate so much more this year. That the other thing I always mention to my bowlers is if it is a church or if someone's maybe disabled or doesn't like to bowl, that's really not the point of it's not the point of the event to have a bowling team. So if someone really doesn't want to, they could show up the day of the event, they could give their donations in, and then one of our waitlisted kids could bowl for them.
Oh, cool.
So I've told all my kids, show up, have fun with everybody, and then, the person who did raise the money could get to meet the child and see the direct benefit they're having to someone's life, because I don't think many of our kids do get to bowl on a regular basis.
Now, obviously, this is going to be at the bowling alley in Connersville.
Yes, Plaza Bowling Lanes.
And that's on 30th Street in Connersville. Now, I'm not a member of a team. I'm not going to be able to get a team together. I still want to show up and help. What do I do?
You can definitely volunteer. Actually, we have a new incentive this year as well for anyone who is a bowler or who does want to volunteer that day. They could get a free ticket to Disney.
Cool.
We signed up with that Give a Day, Get a DisneyDay.com website, and they could talk to me about that if they wanted to sign up. But basically, if they wanted to give an hour of their time, either on the team or otherwise, then they would get a voucher, and they could use that. They could go down to Disney anytime between now and December 15th, I think, and they'd get a free day to one park. We do need help the day of the event. That's, I think, some of my bowlers are already planning on doing. We need people to sort of sign people in, give out the T-shirts, all these other things. So they could always contact me about that, and we'd arrange a time for them to show up. And the day of the event, we'd have tons of work for them to do.
But it's not work in the sense of, the 9-to-5 jobs.
Oh, of course
this is fun stuff. All right, let's recap from the beginning. If you're looking for volunteers, if you want to be a big brother or a big sister, how do they do that?
They should definitely call me up or contact me directly, or they could just go to the website themselves. But if they call me, then I at least know that they're interested. The applications are all on the website.
Okay, your phone number?
825-8111.
Okay, it's 825-8111. Ask for Lauren, and she will help you out there. Now, Bowl for Kids' Sake is coming up Sunday, March 7th. If a team wants to get involved, can they call you at that same number?
Yes, they can.
825-8111. Ask for Lauren and say you want to put together a team for Bowl for Kids' Sake.
And I will drop off the packet at your workplace or at your home, wherever. I'm running around town as it is, trying to give out all these team packets as soon as I can.
There you go. And of course, we could always use your help. These aren't kids that are sitting around playing video games and watching cable and stuff like that. These are children that need positive adult role models so that, as you said earlier, some of the statistics you stated earlier were...
They're more likely to graduate high school and go on to college. They're less likely to get involved in drugs, less likely to get involved with the juvenile system, and more likely to get along better with their families and their friends, like not starting fights with their friends.
And you know what? I figure between you and I... that we can spend an hour less being a couch potato, an hour less on the Wii or the PS3 or sitting in front of the computer on Facebook. I'm guilty of that one. Or just an hour a week. If we give an hour a week to a kid, a deserving boy or girl, look what kind of a difference we can make in your life. Get a hold of Lauren, 825-8111, 825-8111. And if you want to volunteer to be a helper at the Bowl for Kids' Sake, you can do the same thing.
Call the same number or go to the website, yeah.
Lauren, thank you so much for joining us
this morning.
Thank you for
having me.
And I hope it is a huge success, and anything we can do to help, just let us know.
Thank you.